Yeah.
Hello, hello. Welcome. Hi, everybody. You're filing through the Zoom doors right now. You're all coming in. Wonderful. Drop your bags. Today's going to be amazing. Go ahead and if you are available, I see you, Roman. Hi. Please go ahead and turn your cameras on so we can see you and say hi. And today is actually going to be very engagement friendly. We need to see your faces. We need to have your comments and your interactions so that we can bring you the absolute best. And Land Pilot's already brought you the absolute best. Jantzen Young is in the building. She is our private money funder. She knows everything about notes. My goodness, the list is so long. I don't even want to go there. She's mama, fierce mama. Like, if you're not following along with Jantzen Young, then today is the day to finally get to know her, to finally start pulling from her amazing brain. And we're glad you guys are here with us today. Jantzen, how are you doing?
I am killing it today. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, when Veruska reached out and she's like, "Hey, would you mind hopping on?" I was so freaking excited. I love this group. I love the energy here, and I cannot wait to see what we can do to get these land flippers to the next level.
Thank you. And to everybody, she like answered our call last minute. Things were a little bit in flux on our end. I'm in Dallas right now. So I drove all the way from Denver to Dallas so that I could be at an awesome land flipping conference with AJ. And I'm excited to learn, but we were all in flux. We were like, please, Jantzen, come through for our people. And she did. She is here for you guys today. And I know that you've got a few questions to kind of gear all of the direction that we're headed to our people, to exactly what they need.
I do. So, kind of like Corianne alluded to in the beginning, I did have a plan to come in here and preach at you guys a little bit about why hard money lending and transactional funding and note buying is so amazing and can supercharge your businesses. But that's just going to be God if it be. So, I actually want to open up the call with a couple of questions for you guys, so you can tell me what your challenges are, and then we can make this a working session so we can help get you over those humps. And if you have something that's kind of in your mind, you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Trust me, there are 5 other people on this call who have the exact same question and who just aren't asking it. So that's kind of where I wanted to take the call today. So, Corianne, does that sound okay to you?
Sounds amazing. Thank you. Let's do it.
Let's do that. All right, bear with me just a moment. Let me share my screen.
Wonderful. Hey, Mario. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Anna. Hi, Roman. I see you guys even when your camera's off, but I'd love your camera to be on. If not, if you're driving, totally understand. But she's going to bring up some questions. Feel free to unmute and participate in the conversation.
Right. So let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. Can you guys see it now?
Yeah, it's cute and purple and pink.
Of course, it's on brand, right? Awesome. All right. So first question, please pop into the chat. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to financing your land deals? And then kind of a side question there. Have you considered using private money or transactional funding to grow your land business? If so, what's holding you back from taking that full force? Oh, you know what? I should have had some like thinking music. Next time I'll have it.
I just started. I will sing for you if that's what we need. Oh, Paul, please be safe in the middle of a hurricane. That is not easy. But I'll give you guys some thinking music. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to financing your land deals? I think one of the biggest ones is like not knowing you. Like I don't have any issues because I know you. I just go, hey, here's the issues.
Absolutely. We can totally solve that problem today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Debbie, thanks for pitching in. Oh, so I haven't done anything and I'm here to learn more. That's perfect. So I love just you being open and ready to take in new ideas. I've spoken with a lot of land flippers who have gone 4, 5, 6 years into their land flipping career and have done everything all on their own. And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you have a very low risk tolerance, if you like to have that control and you're making money, who cares? Right. Um, but after I sit and talk with them for a while and we realize, if you're taking, let's say you just have a budget of $100,000, I'm just making this up, right? If I've got $100,000 to invest in my land business, all right, let's say that we've got $20,000, put that away, set that aside. That's my marketing budget for the year. I'm pumping out those letters, cold calls, paying for my staff, whatever the case may be. That's just what's keeping your business running forward. Now you've got a couple contracts ready to rock. Excellent. And you get some deals that you want to take down. Now, some of you are used to having your land contracts for 3 months, 6 months. Some of you are awesome and can keep those contracts alive for a whole year without having to close on them. But the land market has slowed down a little bit, right, in the past year, and our sellers are still wanting to get paid. They're a little antsy. So in those situations, when your seller is like, "Listen, we're closing, or this deal is going," you've got some choices. You can take that $80,000 extra that you have and plop it all on one property, and then you're stuck, right? Your business is kind of stalled because all of your cash flow is wrapped up in your inventory. Now, yes, you will make money eventually, but in the meantime, what's going to happen? How are you managing your cash flow? Like, how are you paying your people? How are you continuing to market? And if you're anything like me, Debbie, when I run into those cash flow issues, I just stopped marketing because I couldn't afford it. So because I was so worried about releasing control of the money and I had to fund all my deals by myself, I ended up strangling my business. You cut off the marketing, you cut off everything. So my suggestion now, and what I encourage a lot of land flippers to do, rather than taking that $80,000 and shoving it into inventory, reach out to people like us. There's a whole community of investors who love to work with land flippers, just like you, Debbie, who we've got extra money lying around. We're not actively flipping land, like we've got other things that we're doing, right? So we would love to give you that $80,000. So your inventory, you can go ahead and close the property. You've got some inventory. And you still have 80 grand to continue to market, to pursue other properties, perhaps venture into some entitlement work, venture into some land splitting work that's become quite popular. But it keeps your cash liquid so that you have more flexibility and you don't strangle your own business. Now, does this cost you extra money? Yeah, of course. We all have to make money on this deal, right? But would you rather borrow that money at 15% interest for 1 year, or have all of your money tied up into one? Well, let me finish that thought. Have borrow that money at 15% interest for a year, but you are not limited to one land deal anymore. Now, with a relationship with private investors like us, what's your limit? How many land deals could you do if you could just hop on a call or fill out a form and get money? There is no limit. There is no limit. So, yes, you can take that 80 grand yourself, plug away, run your own business by brute force, or you can release a little bit of control, invite some other people onto your team, your land and your private lenders onto your team, and let us accelerate your business. And really, the limit at that point is just going to become how much capacity can you handle? How many listings can you handle at a single time? And we all know with Land Pilot, I think the sky's the limit there.
Yeah, we'll get them sold so that you can keep getting them. But Jazz, okay, this is, I'm still kind of a newbie on the land side. I'm very much a traditional wholesaler. So of course questions are going to come flooding in. But I just kind of recognized and clicked, and I would love it if you could speak to this, that you can get more discount from a seller because you can close quickly. Like, yeah, I'll give you that 80,000 if we close next December, but I'll give you 20,000 today. And then all of a sudden you just got 60,000 bucks more in your pocket when you resell that. Of course, why wouldn't I give you 20, 30,000 of that? Because I just made more money because of the speed.
Girl, preach. Just preach a little louder. I mean, that's something that we don't even talk about. That's more on the land business side. We're just here to give you the capital, but you're absolutely right. And some people are just thinking, oh, I don't want to pay interest or I don't want to have debt. But look what you just said, by offering that ability to close quickly, which is what a lot of land flippers are not doing, right? They're holding those contracts as long as they can. You can get it for a deeper discount, not only covering your debt coverage, but put a lot more money in your own pocket. I love it.
I do too. I was thinking about that. Um, Bhakta did have a good question. Like, what kind of properties would you even consider financing? Are there any red flags that make you trash something immediately?
Excellent question. And Bhakta, thank you so much for bringing this question to the table. And I'm going to give you an answer that you're not going to like. It depends. It's a lawyer friendly answer, but it really does. So for me, I'll answer for me personally, and then I'll answer for private lenders at large. So personally, I do not love landlocked properties. I won't lend on them. Personally, I do not love, well, I'll tell you my buy box. So it's 10, 20, 30 is what I'm looking for. 10. I would like to buy 10 years of payments or less. Now, does that mean you work out an owner finance deal or something that is 30 years with your, okay, by the way, I'm talking about buyers if you're doing owner financing. Um, if you negotiate to pay off that loan with your buyer for 30 years, will I look at it? Sure. It's just I'm only going to buy 10 years at a time. I'll buy the first 10 years of payments. If they perform, I'll buy the next 10 years of payments. If they perform, I'll buy the next 10 years of payments. So 10. I like to buy no more than 10 years of payments at a time. That's for a note. If you're doing a hard money loan, I really hope you're flipping that deal in less than 10 years. Oh, that shouldn't even be a problem. 20. If you are doing owner financing, we like to see 20% down payment from the buyer. We don't do extensive background checks on your buyers. We're not running, it's called an RMLO, but a residential mortgage loan officer sort of background check. That's where we check pay stubs and your bank statements and your debt to income ratio. We don't do all that. We're land people. We keep it simple. So because of that, our biggest indicator of the borrower's willingness to make payments is skin in the game. That's why we will like to see 20% down payment. That's for notes. For hard money, if you just want to if you just want to borrow money so that you can flip land, it's a little bit different. I'll get to that in a second. 30. We need 30% equity in the deal. What does that mean? If you sell a property for $100,000, the borrower is going to give you $20,000 down payment, 20% down, right? That means you've just created a note for $80,000 that you could tap on us and we take a look at that deal for you. However, we need to have 30% equity in the deal, meaning we cannot give you any more than $70,000 for that note, because with a $70,000 investment in the note, we'll have $30,000 in equity or 30% compared to that $100,000 property that note is secured by. So that's just something to consider, our 10, 20, 30 rule for notes. For hard money loans, it really spans the gambit. We have done loans from $5,000 up to $325,000. So from a budget perspective, we're kind of right there. From, like I said, landlocked properties is the only one I'm not interested in. And what we've really looked at now is the ability for you to sell that property. And this is, I think, a great partnership with Land Pilot, because with all of their expertise, the boots on the ground, the drone footage, getting those a competitive market analysis from a local realtor or an appraisal from a local entity, all of that stuff is going to give us the confidence to say, listen, if Land Pilot is behind you and they believe that they can get this property sold, we can stand behind you and say, yes, we can go ahead and give you a loan because we know it will come back to us. Typically for our hard money loans, we are looking to lend for 12 months Although for some larger deals, we will go up to 18 months without penalties. Does that help, Akta?
Feel free to unmute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome. Okay. So, with that said, and since Debbie and Bhakta have already replied, Roman and Paul, please stay safe. Do not text me while you are driving. But Mario, Debbie, Bhakta, um, first of all, are you clear with the difference between transactional funding, hard money loans, and note buying? I feel like that's obvious, but I don't want to talk over it.
No, I actually want kind of more of a breakdown of this because I understand transactional funding is, obviously it's just during the time of the transaction. I'm guessing those are much shorter windows for you. But honestly, I get a little fuzzy in like what is note buying versus hard money lending in the single family world. I know really well, but just kind of walk us through it.
Thank you.
I'm the
Thank
dummy
you
in
for
the
that,
room.
Again, if you're saying it, 5 other people are thinking. So
Exactly.
cool. All right. So transactional funding is exactly what Corianne said. You have an AB deal and a BC deal. But for whatever reason, maybe it's your state, maybe it's your title company, your closing officer is not going to let you use your buyer's money to pay off your seller. Okay. So if that happens, the deal is not dead. Just got to give us a call. And so we will lend you the money for that AB transaction as soon, let's like say that's at 10 o'clock in the morning. As soon as you sell the property in the afternoon, we will get paid off with our fee and the deal is done. That's transactional funding. Clear?
Yeah, clear. How much normally charge?
Excellent
That's a fee.
question. So it depends, anywhere between 3 and 5 points.
3 and 5 points.
Yes. And for that, the largest deal we were looking to finish was 3.3 million. So for transactional funding, like, just give us a call. We will close. Okay.
Can you talk about points? Like
Ooh,
what is a point?
That is a great question. A point is percent. So interest rates are accrued over a period of months, and we're usually quote the interest rate per year. So if you have a 12% interest rate, you're really only paying 1 point or 1% per month, right? So when we're talking about originating loans or writing a brand new loan, like a transactional funding deal, there's no time that passes. So I can't charge you interest. So instead, we just charge a percentage. 1 point is 1% of the loan value.
Suppose $10,000 I need to borrow or 20,000. How much?
Yeah. So if you need to borrow $20,000 to pay the seller
Yeah,
for that deal,
yeah.
we will charge you 5 points. And you're making me do math, Bhakta? I'm gonna make you do this. Pull up your calculator. 20 right now, $20,000 times 0.05.
Okay, $20,000 0.5%.
0.05.
0.0. Okay, let me 20,000 0.05.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. This is perfect. Taking us back to basics and some of the easy calculations to know whether now is the right time to work with Jazz or not.
Yeah.
So
What'd you get?
$1,000.
And that's the
It
most
shows
that we would
1,000.
charge you. I'm sorry?
It shows $1,000.
There you go.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's
How big? How much minimum and how much maximum?
so the minimum would be 3 points. So let's do that same exercise.
No, I'm
20,000.
talking about the amount.
Oh, no minimums. The maximum that we have done so far is 3.3 million.
Okay, that's too big for me now.
Don't
But
worry
hey,
for
she'll
you.
take on the minimums.
Yes, I will be honest with you though, the minimum that we will charge for any deal is $950. So if you're doing like a $7,000 or $10,000 land flip, we will charge transactional funding, but our minimum fee is 950. That's just for the paperwork and all the wires and all of that stuff. That is the minimum that we'll charge. Okay.
Love
Good.
it.
All right. Excellent. Any final questions on, well, actually, let me dig in a little bit more to that prior question. Have you considered using private money to grow your deals? And if you have thought about it, what's holding you back from doing that?
We
Well,
don't
we-
know who's funding.
I'm sorry?
We don't know who's funding.
We
We
don't know
don't know
who
any
is
lender.
funding?
We don't know any lender.
Got you. And CJ is one. So number one, let's start there. But let's solve that problem right now. So guys, if you are looking for transactional or not transact kind of funding on your deal, please, please, please let me share my screen. Actually, Corianne, is there a way on Land Pilot for them to just request one? I think we were working on that. I'm not sure it's there yet.
That's a good question. One thing I know is if you're here in this room, you're definitely registered to the webinar. So we can send it after to all the registrants. Is that okay?
Perfect. That's great. That's wonderful. Okay, so I will let me just show real quick, if you are looking to get funded, sorry, I've got two monitors. I am paying attention to you guys. You can go right here, privatemoneyinstitute.com, and we do have a partnership with Land Pilot. So jot that down, privatemoneyinstitute.com. Do not put the www, you'll get an error message. I'm working on that. But again, privatemoneyinstitute.com. Once you're there, just click on borrowers. And right from there, you can tell us, you need transactional funding. Do you want to sell a note? Do you need a private loan? Or are you trying to recruit some equity partners?
I love
And
it.
right from there, just fill out your details. And yeah, we will reach out to you. Another really cool thing that you can do is come pitch to us live. So you're meeting me right here. We don't bite, I promise. Even if you're not exactly sure whether you need transactional funding or hard money, if you're not really sure what this whole note thing is, that's fine. Go ahead and schedule. It's every Tuesday, and there are 3 20-minute slots that we have available. You can go ahead and come in, and you'll be sitting in front of about 11 to 15 different investors who have very, very, very different, we call them buy boxes, but we invest in totally different things. But you can come and have a chat with us and just say, hey guys, I'm thinking of structuring this loan, but if I were to do that, how would it work? Like, what would you like to see? And rather than getting one opinion, you get 11 or 15 opinions. And we can really help you structure a deal that we want to participate in. Does that help?
Are you kidding? He just said he doesn't know somebody and you just gave him 10 to 12. That's so helpful.
That's
All
what we're
right,
here
I'll stop
for.
being nerdy and I'll let him.
Jantzen, what the name you said? Private Money
Private Money Institute.
Institute. Okay.
Yes, yes. That's what we do.
All right.
Okay.
One more quick question, Jantzen.
Yes.
Once, let's say, I call you in the morning, how long it will take to get it funded?
Good question. So ideally, we would love, love, love 2 weeks. Because the way our team works is that on Tuesday, we have the deal pitches and we hear from all of the investors. On Thursday, our group has a private call that's just for us. And we go through all of the open deals and we decide who wants to fund what. A lot of times, especially for loans that are over $80,000, different people will partner together on the deal. So we need to work that out ourselves. Once we decide who's funding you, then you'll get a call. It's typically the next week, like that Monday.
So 1 week to 2 weeks. That's what
Yeah,
it said.
1 to 2 weeks. So that first week is just working through it and making a decision, and then another week to just get all the cash together. A lot of the money that we are lending is coming from retirement accounts. So we have a lot of retirement account funds as well as money from, what's it? Like infinite banking from insurance companies. So because of that, there's a lot of paperwork involved. We would love to fund you faster, but we just have to get through all that paperwork. That's why 2 weeks is ideal.
And if we don't want to pay interest, can we bring you on board as a JV, like a percentage?
So that's different, right? So on that list that I showed you, there was there was transactional funding, sell a note, private loans, and then equity partnership. So equity partnership would be that JV. Yes. I will be honest with you, because of the way that the market has been moving recently, those JVs, the people who are interested in JVs has significantly dropped, myself included. I'm very selective on JVs now. Even though there's well, couple things. As a land flipper, the most expensive deal you're going to do is a joint venture agreement. That is just a lot cheaper. The reason it's the most expensive deal you're going to do is because as an equity partner, we are stepping into 100% of that risk with you. And so we need a bigger piece of the pie. But if that's something that you're willing to offer, there are a few people who absolutely salivate over equity partnerships. I'm not one of them, but you can meet them all on our Tuesday call.
Sounds good. All this information is on your website, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Thank
you.
Can I ask one question? It's related or not? How the seller finance work? What is the process looks like?
Yes. Okay. So are you asking how does seller financing work from your land business, or after you create seller financing, how do we buy the note?
No, my business.
Wonderful. Yeah. So I like to say that seller financing is a land flipper's retirement plan, because you do the work once and you get paid for the next 10, 15, 30 years if you want to. In fact, when my husband and I first got into real estate, we were passive income investors. That's what we've always wanted to be. We thought rentals were the only way. But my husband actually did retire off of a rental portfolio. But I retired off of our interest income, just because we were flipping so much land and doing owner financing over and over and over again. And suddenly, $500 here, $700 there, $600 here, $1,000 there. You wake up one day and you're like, holy crap, I'm making more money off of these notes than I am at my job. So, yeah. So how does it work, Baka? So let's say you get a property under contract it's a $100,000 property. And we get this property under contract for $30,000. And going back to the days when this was a very common thing. All right. So we have it under contract for 30. We know that if we go and we sell this as a fire sale, we can go ahead and, you know what, let me see if I can I'm going to throw out a lot of numbers. So let me see if I can do it on a whiteboard here. Can you guys all see me?
Yeah.
Sure can.
Excellent. All right. All right. So you're going to buy the property for $30,000. You're going to sell that property for, it's worth $100,000, but you're probably going to sell it at a discount if you're going to do cash. But if you take owner financing, you can do it at $100,000, right? Or $100,000. But how does that actually work? When you go to the closing table, what's actually going to happen is that the buyer is going to give you a down payment of 20%. So how much is the buyer going to pay you at closing?
$100,000.
$20,000.
$20,000.
All right. And then now you're going to create a note for the balance. The buyer is promising that they're going to pay you the rest of the money. How much does the borrower promise to pay you in the future?
what is the terms like, looks like how many, 5 years, 10 years?
That's a good conversation. So, but first let's do this. Yes, Mario, you're right. We're going to create a note for $80,000. Now, Bhakta, you just asked the perfect question. What are the terms? And that's 100% up to you, right? Now, usually when I start this conversation, people are going to say, all right, well, I'm going to have this. They know that I like to buy notes at 10 years. So they're like, all right, I'm going to do 10 years or 120 months. That's what we typically say. Ooh, Corianne, say it out loud.
I loved hearing this for the first time. It's like your terms, my price. Your price, my terms. Because then there's so many ways to pull the string to make the puppet dance.
Mario says mega.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that. And this is where we get into, oh, no, I just sell the property for $80,000. Hey, if it's all cash, heck yeah, all day. But if they're going to have some terms in there, then
So you have to bring when you close the property, you have to bring $10,000, right?
it's a good question. The short answer to your question is yes. In this situation, that's what's happening because you only have $20,000 cash.
Yeah.
But at that moment, you also have something of value. You have this note. And guess who absolutely loves to buy notes? So if you structure this note, and I'll go a step further back that and show you the note that we want to see. 10-year notes, interest rate of 12.9%. Know what's happening right now, but I'm seeing a lot of notes coming through at like 9 and 10%. Guys, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're stealing from yourself if you hold that note, and you're making it really hard for us to buy that note from you if you ever need to sell. So 12.9% is a solid interest rate. Just stick with it. It works. Okay. Term interest rate, and we have the unpaid balance. So that's pretty much all we need to see. So at the closing table, let's put this in a different color if I can. Can I change color? I don't know. Oh, I think so. Oh, I have to do the whole
I
thing.
think so, but I rather you figure it out and learn because I never use this, but
Nope.
it's so useful
No
because I'm
worries.
such a
No
visual
worries.
learner. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see it.
I totally can. All right. So here's the thing. That $80,000 note is something of value. It's just not real cash today. Debbie, great question. Where does the interest rate comes from? It comes from you and your decision. So yeah, 12 for me, 12.9% is what I am telling you. You should be writing these notes at if you ever want someone like me to buy it. If you want to hold it, it's really up to what is your opportunity cost. If you had $80,000 today, what would you do with it? Would you put it in the CD and earn 4%? Okay, well then whatever note you write should be earning more than 4% because that's your next best option. Would you put it in the stock market and earn 9%? Okay, well then your interest rate should be better than 9% because that's your next best option. So I'm telling you personally, 12.9% is where we need to be. Yeah. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back here. I don't want to swap. I just want to say that. Okay, so this $80,000 note that you have, Mario asks, what is the minimum percentage in this case? We have done 0% loans before. The problem is that if you have a 0% loan for 10 years at $80,000, we would maybe be able to offer you 10K for that note. Do not do 0% loans ever.
Am
Now,
I
you can buy.
understanding correctly that you're saying that it has to be above 9%? Because then why wouldn't I go dump my money into the stock market instead or something like that, like a CD or something?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, that makes too much sense. Okay, tracking.
Perfect. All right. Hey, Josette. So that $80,000 note, what you can do is come to us. We're going to say, oh, I like that percentage rate. Ooh, I like 120 months. I'm going to be sitting pretty for a while here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and offer you $74,000 for that note. So now here's what's going to happen. At the closing table, you will get $20,000 from your buyer. Then you're immediately going to sell the note and you're going to get $74,000 from us. And you still need to buy that property for the AB transaction at $30,000. So Bhakta, since I'm nominating you to be my calculator person, how much money do you take home at closing?
74 minus 10.
Okay, yeah, that's the way to do it. Which would be
74,000. 64.
exactly $64,000 is your profit. So instead of you holding this note, and yes, Mario, you're correct. We still have closing costs, so 64,000 minus closing costs. You're right. But instead of holding this note yourself, Bhakta, and having to pay $10,000 at closing, you can walk away with 64,000 minus your closing costs at the closing table by creating a note and selling it to a note buyer. And I will tell you right now, in a market where it is getting increasingly more challenging to get a deal from contract to close, being able to offer owner financing is an excellent way to dramatically expand your buyer pool, because there's a whole lot more people that have $20,000 today than have $100,000 today. You will sell your properties faster, and according to Corianne, you can sell them for a higher price when you offer owner financing. So just something to consider.
I know this might be kind of throwing a linchpin in, but I'm curious, would you ever hard money lend the 70% of the 30,000 to buy the property in the first place? Or is that
Yes.
technically a JV?
No. So if you, so all of this, let's see here. All of this happens if we assume, it's fine. That the buyer wants to buy on terms. That's a big assumption, right?
Yeah.
If they don't want to buy on terms, or if you just, the seller's like, we yesterday, and you don't even have a buyer yet, then your only option is to buy the property. And yes, we're more than happy to lend you the whole $30,000. So you can purchase that property and take the full year to adequately market that property and get the buyer that you're looking for.
Jazz, that's options on the purchase and that's options on the resale and how you can market.
Absolutely.
I love options. You're amazing.
Absolutely. Now, I'm just gonna follow some doodling's happening. That's fine. I just want to follow that line of thought in accordance with the other question. So we already know what I'm looking for on the note side, but when we're buying and we're doing a hard money loan, a couple of things for you to be aware of here. So if we're doing a hard money loan, what are we looking for? First, we need to see, I already told you I don't like landlocked properties. There are other lenders who will do it, but that's kind of an issue for me. First, I want to be at 50% LTV. Loan to, let's not use it, loan to value. What does that mean? If your property is worth $100,000, the most I can lend to you is $50,000. If you have no buyer, you're probably in a market I'm not working in, right? So To hedge my risks, I want to be at 50% of whatever the value of that property is at. Okay. The other piece, we want terms for 12 months. If you are doing an entitlement project or a development project, we can do 18 months. But generally speaking, if this is just a standard flip, we're going to lend you that money for 12 months. Okay. And then you have the option to make payments, which we'll do that at 15%. I'm sorry, I lied. 14%. Or no payments, and you just pay everything at the end, and that's going to be 18%. Completely up to you. Have I seen people borrow more money? Nadia, what is going on? And have I seen people borrow more money than what they're using to purchase the property for? Absolutely, because some people want to borrow enough money that they can't afford to make their payments and lower their interest rate. So I've seen that happen in the past as well. It's up to you. Again, if you don't want the pressure, kind of like what Sanjay was alluding to, if you don't want the pressure of having to make payments, just opt for 18% per year, which let me do a side-by-side comparison. And Bhakta, I'm going to call on you again. If I took this loan for $30,000 and I paid 18%, how much am I paying in interest in that year?
30,000.
30,000.
How much interest? What?
Times 0.18.
$5,400.
Thank you. Yes, Josette had it as well. Thank you. Okay. But what if I did like Sanjay did, and I was like, you know what? I really don't want that pressure of the payments. I don't like working with debt. I would rather do a JV, also known as an equity partnership. Okay, fine. If you want to do it that way. Typically in a JV agreement, we are looking at anywhere between 30 and 50% profit share. Let's just say we're going to go with 30 at the very low end. So Bhakta, I'm going to make you work twice here. Partnership. Now in this, I'm not going to tell you the LTV or the term or whatever, because we're in this thing for the long run with you. If you get somebody to say yes to this deal, they don't care how long it takes. They're in it with you, in it to win it, right? So let's go through this. We buy the property together for $30,000. We turn around and we sell it together for $70,000. So we profit $70,000 in that deal. How much do you owe your equity partner, your JV partner? So $70,000 worth of profit times 30%.
21.
Yep, Debbie had it as well. $21,000. Now we do this because we are taking on tremendous risk with you. If you have miscalculated the value of that property, if you go in with this beautiful subdivision deal you have in your head, and then the county shuts you down, we lose all of our money with you. That is why if we're going to take that risk, we are going to take that profit as well. And when I tell you equity share is the most expensive way for you to do business, this is it. I just want you to see what that really looks like. 5,400 versus 21,000.
You know, this math has got people excited because we can see them scrolling around.
Yes.
Yeah,
Check
this
it
is
out,
like,
please. Check
this
it out.
is great. Now, is it always, and I guess maybe I might have missed this because I was a little distracted trying to lock this down a little bit, but The JV equity partnership is always associated with the hard money loan, or what did I miss that made the difference between a hard money loan and the JV equity?
It's a choice. It's one or the other. So
Okay.
in both scenarios, in a hard money and a JV equity partnership, you don't have a buyer yet.
Right.
So if you don't have a buyer, but you want to take down the property ahead of time, you can either do it with debt or you can do it by bringing in a partner.
Got you. Okay, I'm tracking.
Yes. Now,
Also comes into our underwriting process because we're always trying to tell people like you've really got to get the deal at the right price. And this is already kind of putting you in the right direction of, yeah, like you shouldn't be purchasing a property unless honestly you're close to that 50% of value, especially in the land business.
yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why I really like partnering with Land Pilot, because you provide such great direction and it makes it easier as lenders to honor that. There was a really good question that I just saw that I don't see anymore. Okay, there you go. John, do you want to unmute and just ask your question live, please?
Yeah, so you were saying in a JV or equity partnership, both you and the investor are in it together. If the deal goes bad or if it doesn't sell, both of you, I guess, lose out in a sense. But in a when you're lending, when you're hard money or lending to an investor, what happens if the deal can't sell, or if it sells for less money than what it bought it for? Have you had to deal with any situations like that?
It's an excellent question. So we can work with, yes, and we can work with this a couple of ways. So this happens, this is more of an issue on my notes from time to time. So we look for triple guarantees. So first is if the deal is looking like it's not going to work out for this particular piece of property, we want the ability to walk the mortgage to something else. Meaning, you're a land flipper. I hope you're flipping more than one property. So if we lend you money on this particular deal and it's just not working out, you're 9 months in and you're like, listen, the stuff I'm hearing from the county and what I'm seeing on this survey is probably not going to be it. That's okay. You can walk our mortgage or you can take our collateral off of this property and onto another property with equal or greater value. And so that way we can continue to have that loan. The money is still in your pocket, but our security is against another property in your portfolio that hopefully you can sell within the time limit. So that the ability to walk the mortgage is really helpful. Number two, I don't want to go this route, but we do ask for a personal guarantee for all of our loans that you write. So if the deal falls through, we still have the right to go after you personally just for the amount that you owe us. So we would just need that $30,000 plus that $5,400 back from you. And we do have the right to go after you personally, even if you're still stuck in this property, even if you end up selling the property for $25,000. But we do have that personal guarantee to be able to go after our initial investment plus the interest that was owed. The third option is foreclosure. So because we are the ones who put up the lion's share of that risk, the $30,000 in this case, rather than being into that deal with you 30%, if you fail, we will go after the entire deal, take you out of it through the foreclosure process, and we will go after the entire profits on our own. So those are the three protections that we have with debt. And because there are so many protections, it's much less expensive than equity. Does that help, John?
Yes, makes sense. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, more than welcome. Okay, so there seems a lot of questions around the hard money side of the world. Any questions a little bit deeper on the equity? Ooh, you know what? It just occurred to me, the whole equity partnership thing. So if debt is not an option, I didn't even think about this. If debt is not an option for you, for whatever reason, you can negotiate an equity partnership in function with the rate of debt if you are willing to offer those same advantages. So there are people who don't want to do debt for religious reasons. There are people who don't want to do debt for fire reasons. There are people who don't want to do debt for Dave Ramsey reasons. Whatever. Okay, whatever. But if that is where you are, we can structure a JV equity partnership at basically debt prices, as long as you're willing to give us those same protections that we have in a traditional promissory note and mortgage. Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Also, Josette, you had a couple questions in the chat, but that was a little bit further back. So now might be a good time to unmute and ask those questions. Are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Nice.
One of the questions, and I think it was only one, but it was, how crucial is it that we capture the loan servicing fee, especially if like the monthly payments are $1,500 or $1,800? Like, how important is it to get that extra $30 to $40?
So glad you asked that question. All right, I know how to start it. I don't know how to, oh, I can do this. Let me see if I can share screens. Okay. So guys, we're gonna have to say goodbye to the whiteboard just for a moment. I'm gonna give you a really fun tool. It's free, so you guys can all use it whenever you like. Calculator.net. Sorry. Calculator.net, not .com. That'll take you to the wrong spot. Let me make this really big so you all can see. If you scroll down to the financial calculators and click on finance calculator, I'm encouraging you to do this, as I'm not just sitting here for my health. Calculator.net, scroll down to the financial calculators and click on finance calculator. It's going to give you this beautiful little doohickey, and we're going to answer Josette's question with real world numbers. Okay. So first of all, let's find the payment, because I don't know what the payment is. We're going to make up a pretend loan. So let's do a 10-year loan, 120 payments. We're going to do the 12.9% interest rate, because we're all good citizens and we've listened to what Jantzen said. All right. And you've created a note for $80,000. This is the same note that we were talking about from Bhakta's deal, right? At the end of 120 payments, the borrower will end up owing us nothing, because that's the loan will have been paid off, right? Really quickly, whenever you're working with financial calculators in Google Sheets, Excel, even, tools like this, you want to make sure your settings are right. So we're actually going to compound this note 12 months a year. I'm sorry. We're going to say that there are 12 periods every year. So this isn't one payment every year where we're getting 120 years of payments. That's ridiculous. So there's 12 payments happening every year. We have to tell it that. And then we are going to compound that interest 12 times per year. We will compound the interest every month as well. If you don't do that, you're going to get some funky answers. So make sure that you update your settings. So Joseph, we're going to create a 10-year note, $80,000 note. So our payments are going to be $189.77. That's what we're expecting to make. If I have to now pay $40 a month for servicing fees, well, I don't really have a note that's worth $80,000, because $40 a month is just vanishing from this. So I've got to calculate that somehow. So then what can I offer you? How does this affect your note? Well, if I go to the present value, I can figure out, okay, what can I pay for your note today in present money? What does that look like? It's still 120 months, still 12.9%. My periodic payment, I don't know where that came from, is going to be 1189.77. Oops. And that at the end of 120 months, I still will be owed no money. Just a quick piece there. The reason we here, I'm going to say positive so this will make sense. When I click calculate, your $80,000 note, I can't give you that much more for it. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me take away $40 a month because I'm not getting the whole thing. $40 has to leave to someone else, right? Cool. That's what I missed. Once I do that, your $80,000 note, just for that off the top, you lose $2,000 from us right away. So if it's worth it to you to have that conversation with your borrower and say, hey, it's going to be $40 a month and you're fine, that's $2 extra $1,000 in your pocket. Otherwise, that's gone off the top. And this is assuming that we're buying the note at par, which is meaning we're only making 12.9% on that note, which is never the case. We always buy at a discount, but it's going to be at a deeper discount because that fee was not included. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Cool.
And just to answer your ask another question, you buy it at a discount. What is the discount that you usually buy the note at? I kind of missed that in the beginning.
Some question. I mean, we didn't go over how we do that, but typically we would say that let's go back to the whole note, assuming that the borrower is paying all fees and we don't have to pay those fees. We typically want to see a yield of 18% return on our capital year over year. So that would be about $66,000 that we could offer for that note. If we had to then calculate that extra $40 a month, that $66,000, goes down a little bit more. We could only offer 63.
Okay.
And the reason somebody would take that is because that's 63 today. They don't have to sit on the note. But for you, you just made 18,000 in regards to the resale. Yeah. Okay.
And we just
10,000.
Yes. And over the life of that loan, we're going to make $74,000 just in interest, which is why we love notes.
Jazz, you might make us all fall in love with notes.
I'm telling you, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So earlier, we were talking about how important is interest rate? Let's go back here. So Josette, I'm going to make fun of you a little bit. We're going to take this $80,000 note that Bhakta had, but Bhakta did not listen to Jantzen, and he wants a great deal for his investor, and he's going to charge 0% for this deal, not 12.9. Okay, that's fair. Payments are solid, 666.67. At the end of all those payments, the borrower is going to pay back exactly what they owe, $80,000. And notice my interest doesn't exist. It's not there. Just because you don't charge interest doesn't mean we don't want to make interest. So now if I go to the present value to say, okay, what can I pay you, Bhakta, for this 0% interest note? If the payments are only going to be 666.67 today. Oh, and I need to earn 18% on my money because I'm a capitalist, right? When I click calculate, that $80,000 note, that's the best I can do. That's assuming everything about that borrower checks out. The land is perfect. No questions at all. Do not do this.
This is too good because I think you can kind of see how so many people could sell notes until the point that they can buy notes. Because really, Jazz, I think you might make us all rich in one evening, in 1 hour. Just going back to basics and looking at numbers and looking at how we can utilize having somebody in our back pocket like you to become a you. Like you're opening the kimono, if you will, and you're giving us all of the goodness so that we can really truly walk down this path.
Yeah.
Too cool.
And this is my story. I started out as a land flipper. And then Einstein said, interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Once I figured out I could retire on land, and then help other land flippers get the same thing. I mean, it's amazing. And I know we're right at the top of the hour, but I will leave a little tidbit and I can come back another week and talk about this more in detail. But something that really works well, especially if you're having a hard time swallowing this whole idea of, yeah, but my note was worth $80,000. I really want $80,000, right? And you understand the power of interest and you want that cash flow for yourself. If you have a note that's going to last you 10 years, it's totally reasonable for us to buy only 5 years of that note. We'll buy half of it. We get cash flow for 5 years, you get all your cash today. And then 5 years and 1 month, guess what? You start getting payments. It's almost like, and I said at the beginning, starting a retirement plan for yourself. So just sell half of your note, sell part of your note, just sell enough of your note. Back in the beginning, we were talking about, oh, I've got to bring $10,000 to the table. Okay, well, if all you need is 10,000, you don't need the full 74. Let me just give you that maybe 15,000. So you pay off the seller and maybe you get like $5,000 to put in your pocket. Feel good. You need to celebrate your wins. But then in that case, you're not totally out of the deal. What you did, you took a $5,000 thank you today, and maybe 4-5 years from now, your retirement account kicks in. Payments just start coming in. Payments you forgot about from 5 years ago, all of a sudden start rolling in. Now that's a really cool way to begin your path to retirement. And with that, I will let you go. I know it's getting late.
And
Wow.
I have a quick question, Jantzen, if you sure. Just want to know if you want to use your services. Just go on your website and what's a requirement? What do you need to upload or how it works?
No. Excellent question. So really quickly, like I mentioned before, you can log into privatemoneyinstitute.com. They're very, very straightforward. Thanks, Crayon, for dropping that into the chat. If you need transactional funding, just hop on, click on that, schedule funding. It's pretty straightforward. There's a little video that kind of walks you through it. It's 3 simple pages of data, and that pops right up onto our spreadsheet. It's all the same for, well, the data that we need is different, but for selling a note or if you're looking for a private loan, it walks you through all the steps. After you do that, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you schedule a pitch. Once you get on the calendar, and you'll notice they're only on Tuesdays, but once you get on the calendar for that 20-minute pitch, you will get an email with a sample PowerPoint presentation that you don't have to use. A lot of people don't use it, but that will help you in case you've never done pitches before. Just kind of guide you through what we're looking for. You can just fill it in and present your deal to us. And the reason why I recommend that you pitch your deal is because when you put it on the spreadsheet, you're kind of a faceless person. I mean, I know you, Sanjay, but the other, 15 people in the room don't. So when you come on, it's not, hey, here's my deal, take it or leave it. It's, here's my deal and here's what I'm thinking about. Well, Claudia doesn't like the way you phrased that, or she doesn't like, the 120 months. Can you do something? Maybe she wants a longer term. She loves that long interest. So what would happen if you offered a 30-year note instead? Would the buyer go for that? You can start to tweak it, and rather than dumping a deal in front of us, we can create the deal together. And I don't want to say guarantee that someone's going to pick it up, but highly increase the likelihood that we can do the deal that we all want to do together.
I love that because, yeah, I think many people just get stuck in the fact that you change that interest rate and it really is like a puppet, right? Like you pull that string and then this arm comes in and like you kind of have to zhuzh it until it's actually working. And you guys are there to do it, to zhuzh it in a place where it works for you. And then we go and learn from that, all us newbies who want to retire. And I think that's really cool that you're not only guiding the path of a vision for that, but you're also saying, here's like, show up on Tuesdays, here's how you get started.
Right.
I love it.
Thank you, Jantzen.
Guys, if you want to, well, we're running out of time, and Jazz has quite a lot going on in her life, so I definitely want to be aware of that. But I highly suggest you take the privatemoneyinstitute.com and start just engaging there. And then if you have any questions, Sam, feel free to just take my contact information with that QR code, and I can get you connected to Jazz after this for more questions and more ways of working with her. But I'm going to close us out today knowing that there is a way to use land to retire yourself. And not only is that just an idea that's out there, there are people that have done it who want to help you along the way. Jazz is one of those people. I'm so grateful to you, Jazz. Thank you for swooping in last minute to save us from our mad schedulingness and then bringing these gems. It genuinely has me excited.
Absolute pleasure. I'm happy to do it. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Have a good one.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.